Hey, how you doing, you guys? Listen, before the podcast starts, I just wanted to give a quick introduction to it because when I had the pleasure of actually interviewing Lenny Copp, I honestly didn't think that we were going to go ahead and capture some really, really special and touching and personal moments. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It's definitely worth it to go ahead and listen to it all. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's very organic and well, I think you're going to learn a lot about someone that we've known for a very, very long time. So enjoy. Thanks. Hey, welcome to Hobby W's podcast. I'm Eddie Collins, and I've got the pleasure of being here with Lenny Copp. There's a lot of folks that don't know who Lenny Copp is, but if you've ever heard of the name West Coast Classic Restoration, did I get it right, Lenny?
You got it, perfect.
Did I? Good. Then you'd know Lenny, and he's done some amazing things. And well, you know what? He's our guest of honor tonight, and we're here to learn a little bit more about Lenny. So, Lenny, I just want to say thank you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure, and I'm glad that you're here. You know, I'm stoked that I've known you for so many years, and
over 20.
Yeah. God, has it been that long?
Oh yeah.
You know, Dave met you, and rest in peace. And but you know what? It's good to be here, and it's kind of nice to actually be relaxing here and getting to know a little bit more about you. So
great.
I gotta ask, man. You know, how long have you been in this in the Volkswagen realm of things?
Believe it or not, I got into Volkswagens before I got into Volkswagens.
How's that?
Well, when I was 22, I went to auto mechanic school. I was totally lost. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. No idea. And I was in the CEDAR program for lost kids, you know. Troubled kids. That was me. So she said, well, we're going to give you an aptitude test. And after the test, I said, you're really mechanical. So I went to this school, 6 months class, and I actually graduated at the top of my class.
Wow.
So I went around to all the dealers, Chevy, Ford, nobody would give me a job. Volkswagen gave me a job.
Wow.
So I worked there because it was a job, not because I loved those little cars, because back then you didn't love those little cars, you know? And if you like, you know, I lived in New Hampshire.
Okay.
They were known for no heat.
Yeah.
So you froze your butt off in a Volkswagen.
Wow.
So basically I worked there for a couple of years, and then years went by, and I did a lot of other things in my life, working in restaurants and stuff like that. And I opened a repair shop in Peterborough, New Hampshire for Volkswagen.
What was it called?
Ben Len Auto.
Benlin?
Ben-Len.
Really?
It's funny because Ben was my partner.
Okay.
But it's also my son's name. But
Really?
he wasn't born yet. So
And what was the lend part?
me.
Oh.
Sure. What the hell?
I heard lend.
It's
Isn't
short
lend
for
it to
Lenny.
me. Ben Len.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I had this repair shop going, and the problem was there weren't any more Volkswagens around. They were gone, you know, all in the junkyard. You know, I had one, but nobody else did.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to work on Hondas and all that, Toyotas and all that stuff. And, you know, it was okay, but after 2 years, I had to close it because I lost it. I wasn't a businessman; I was a car guy, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I closed that, and I took a job downtown at the local Exxon station, pumping gas for $5 an hour.
Wow. Wait, what year was this?
1980.
1980?
82, I'm sorry, 82.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was so depressed, I literally would tear up on my way to work. Like, is this it? Is this my life? I'm 32 years old and I'm pumping gas for $5 an hour. So I drove home that day and I told my old lady, I said, pack your shit, we're moving to California. And she goes, well, how the hell are we going to do that? She goes, never mind, I'm not going to ask, I'm packing. And within 2 weeks, we had a yard sale and raised $2,700.
Wow, that's
And,
pretty good for a yard sale.
Yeah, and the only transportation we had was my '59 Beetle that I bought in a barn in Vermont for $165, believe
Awesome.
it or not.
That doesn't
And it was
happen
a European
anymore.
59 European. Had
Semaphores.
semaphores, sunroof.
Sweet.
Yeah,
For how much?
165.
Jesus.
But it was in a barn. After 18 years, they pushed it outside and put for sale on the windshield. So I stopped and bought it, and that's the car that my buddy painted it for $300.
Oh my God.
I rebuilt the motor, I rebuilt all the brakes, and bought a roof rack, and we stuffed 700 pounds of luggage in the back, behind my son, or on the roof.
So you, oh my God.
Headed to California in
Oh
that
my
car.
God.
Yeah, we stopped in Connecticut to see some relatives, and they were like, oh boy, you're gonna need some more money, and they gave us another $1,000.
Really?
Yeah, that was a lot of money in '82.
Yeah.
So at that point, we were like, oh, nothing, we can't not make it now. This is no problem.
That's wild. Did you know where you were going? Where you were headed here?
Yeah, kind of. I knew my mother was out here.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I figured that would be a starting point. She lived in Lomita.
Oh, okay.
Yee, I didn't like that area, but
So this trip, I mean,
well,
did
the
you
trip
do
was
it in
kind of cool.
steps or what? And by the way, gotta ask, 36 horse?
Oh, of course, split case tranny, of course.
Oh my God.
So we left on the very first night, believe it or not, in the middle of a blizzard. We weren't not going to leave. This is the day we're leaving, so we're leaving. And in the middle of the day, it was snowing so hard that the end of the driveway was already 2 feet of snow. So Lisa, my son's mother, went out and stopped traffic on the road, and I got to start in reverse and poof right through the big snowbank. Ended up across the street, and I got stuck over there. So here we are trying to push it out of the snowbank, and the chief of police stops. What the hell are you guys doing? Well, we're going to California. He was kind of pissed because we didn't say goodbye to him. You know? So he's jumping on the back bumper, and my neighbor's yelling from across the street, "Hey, get off that bumper!" He just fixed that car.
That's
Pretty small
awesome.
town, 900 people in that town.
900?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is small.
Pretty small town. So on the first night we leave, and about an hour later, the car's dead. After the sun went down, I put the headlights on. Within an hour, the car was dead.
Oh.
I never knew we had a problem with the charging system at all.
Ah.
So every night we had to stop at 5 o'clock because it was February. It got
Okay.
dark at 5.
Uh-huh.
Put the battery at a gas station, charge it up, and stay in a motel. And the next day, head out again. We had no problem during the day. Never put the headlights on.
Wow.
I could use the gas heater that I had in it.
Okay. It had a gas heater?
Oh yeah, I put it in. It was toasty, roasty.
Wow.
We were sitting at a light once, it was minus 16 degrees. And the people next to me in the car look over at us and we're in our t-shirts. And there's smoke coming out from under the front fender and they're like, "Your car's on fire." Yeah, we love it. So anyways, with that kind of speed, 48 miles an hour, it took us 8 days to get here.
Oh.
And the only time we could get over 48 miles an hour is when we stuck on the back of a tractor trailer's bumper and did 70 with it. They'll pull you right along. They get mad if they see you, but. And the only problem we ever had was the gas pedal broke.
Okay.
So in Texas, I stopped at this place, had a big welding sign, and I went in there. I goes, "Is there a welder on duty?" And he looked at me and he looked at the car and he goes, "No." I go, "Oh well, thanks anyways."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was kind of nasty guy.
Huh.
Then we went down the street and there's this guy's house, with a little welding sign outside. So I
Uh-huh.
stopped and I said, "Hey, can you weld something up for me?" "Yeah, what do you got?" He's trying to act grumpy, but you could tell he was a nice guy.
Uh-huh.
He looked at it, got in there with his little torch,
Uh-huh.
all done. I goes, "Well, what do I owe you?" He goes, "You kids ain't got no money. Get out of here."
Wow. That's
That's a
awesome.
pretty cool guy, yeah.
Very cool.
And we made it all the way to. My poor son, though, you got to hear this.
Uh-huh. And how old was he at the time?
He was 2.5.
Oh my God.
Oh, I felt so bad for him. He came out of the motel on the 5th day. He looked at me, he looked at the car, and he started crying. And he says, "Please, Daddy, no Blue Beetle today."
Oh my God.
That's what we would say every day. "Get in the Blue Beetle. Let's go. Get in the Blue Beetle." That was the name of the car, the Blue Beetle. Oh, I just felt so horrible for him because he knew he was going to be there for about 10 hours.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
He's still going through therapy today?
Well, he doesn't drive a Volkswagen. He's 37 and he
Dude,
doesn't
that's
drive a Volkswagen.
crazy. That's nuts.
But we made it all the way, And,
So,
the sad part was 3 weeks later, somebody stole the car.
what?
Never saw it again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we lived on Ball Road in the Casa Madrid apartments. So I had the first carport
Okay.
from the street.
Uh-huh.
So when you're driving by, every day you saw the back of this Blue Beetle.
Wow.
And if you didn't know anybody, you'd think it was a show car.
Wow.
And sure enough, after 3 weeks, it was gone.
That sucks.
So broken-hearted.
So now all of a sudden you didn't have a car.
Oh, we had no car.
Wow.
And we had no money.
So you came out of here, and I mean, what was your intention? What?
Well, when I
what were
first
you gonna
came out,
do?
the first thing I had to do was get a job.
Okay.
Okay, I got to feed my family. That's
Right.
my main thing in life.
Yes.
I can't not work.
Right.
So I had
And
3
pay for
jobs.
your sex therapy.
Yeah. So I ended up with 3 choices. I was hired as a Goodyear Tire Store manager.
Okay.
I was hired to sell used Mercedes-Benz. And I was hired at Phoenix House Drug Program.
At what? Phoenix
The
what?
Phoenix House Drug Program in Santa Ana. It's a live-in drug program.
Okay.
That's the job I took. Well, I have a lot of history with that.
Okay. All right.
I went through one of those programs myself in
Okay.
1972. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you doing there? At the Phoenix.
Phoenix, I was a counselor.
As a counselor. Right on, man. Wow. How long did you do that for?
2 years. And I kept saying to myself, I want to do my own thing. I want to start my own business, I've always
Right.
wanted to do that.
Uh-huh.
So, I worked at Phoenix House during the day, and I'd go home and open the garage and work on Volkswagens till 10 or 11 at night.
Wow.
Always did that my whole life.
Huh.
Always made extra money working on Volkswagens. So I decided to restore one in the driveway, right there.
Wow.
I mean, I literally painted it in the driveway. And it ended up, I drove it to Hot BW's after it was done. And I walked in there and I went up to R.K. Smith, who I didn't really know, and I said, "Hey, I got a car for your magazine." And he looked at me like, "Okay." Well, let's go see what you got. And he went outside and it was a white 63 sunroof Bug.
Wow,
And
very
he
cool.
looked at it and he went, "Oh my, this is really nice."
Huh.
And he featured it. It was called Stylin' 63.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember what
I'm not
issue
sure
that was?
when it was like 1985.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll have to see if we still have that issue.
Oh, I have it at the shop
Oh,
anyway.
do you?
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get you another one. I want this thing autographed.
So how do you think I felt, Len? My first car I did, the only
Dude,
thing
that's
I didn't do
crazy.
was the upholstery. And that's when I met my upholstery guy, because I took it to Cal Whittier's Upholstery right here in Fullerton.
Wow,
And this
okay.
Mexican guy, Jesse Quintana, worked there.
I remember Jesse.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was very famous.
Yeah.
So he did my car.
He did a front seat for me for
Yeah.
the bus. Okay.
Well, he did my car's interior.
Uh-huh.
And he did such a good job. Whenever I went there, I said, "He's doing my work. I don't want anybody else doing it.
Uh-huh.
This guy right here."
Uh-huh.
So, the long story short is Jesse ended up working for me for 14 years
I
after
remember
that.
that, yeah.
Oh, I love that
Wow.
man. Loved him so much. And he trained both of my guys that are still there today. My two guys have been there over 20 years.
Wow. So okay, so you kind of jumped ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I know, I
20
did.
years there, but
Yeah.
and I
That's fine, go
seriously, man.
back.
No, you're cracking me up, man. I love this. This is I'm still crying inside for years.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It was
horrible.
horrible,
That is.
I wish I
and
had
you know
a
what?
tape.
I got to tell you though, it's interesting. I don't know too many people today that actually have that kind of moxie where they're just kind of like
Pick
outta
up and
here.
go?
Yeah, pick up and go. Yeah, pick up and go and just kind of.
Well, I did it
see what
twice with the
happens.
same lady. Before my son was born, we walked into the
This lady's a
Kawasaki
saint.
dealer. Huh?
This lady's
Oh,
a saint.
She loved it. We walked into a Kawasaki dealer and saw a black 79 LTD 1000 sitting there. And I goes, "I want that." Never drove a 1000 in my life. I want that. And went to the bank and got a loan. It was $3,500.
Oh my God.
And we bought that thing, and we loved it so much. We put 35,000 miles on it in less than 3 months. We were already on the third rear tire.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So at that point, we're like, it's getting to be September, and it's getting cold. What are we going to do? I goes, "Let's go to Florida." So we did. We packed up our motorcycle and headed to Florida. We had 2 sleeping bags, 2 backpacks, and a tent.
That's awesome.
We went all the way to. Funny part is in North Carolina, we stopped for the night at a camping area, and this guy's got, "I got a good spot for you too." He probably knew what we were going to do. So
What were you guys gonna do?
Well, anyways, and I told her, I goes, "Get your birth control, let's go." And she goes, "I don't know where it is." I goes, "Well, we'll be all right." 3 weeks
Nice,
later, she
dude.
goes, "Guess what?"
Oh my God, really?
Yep. He was conceived on that trip. And I actually have a picture of that night with the moon and everything.
Why do you have a picture of
Because I
that?
took it, it was beautiful. Eddie, I've been taking pictures my whole life. I probably got, you've seen it, you've witnessed it, Shin. I've got probably 10,000 pictures.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
and all the
awesome.
negatives and everything.
Dude, Shin, we got to see the blue
Yeah, I
blue
know.
bug, man.
I got it on my computer at
No,
work.
that's awesome. No, I definitely want to see that. No, I think, honestly, I think it's pretty admirable, to actually go ahead and do that kind of, that kind of trek and just kind of have that mindset. It's
It didn't
interesting.
scare me because, and I'll probably tell you why. I've been on my own since I was 15. And I was on the streets at 15.
Okay.
So nothing scared me.
Uh-huh.
I slept in closets, I slept in people's cars, I did what I had to do just to get along. But I
Mhm.
always worked, I was always a hard worker. I always had a job, even though I didn't have much money, I had a job. And I think that's what kind of gave me the base core of having the balls to just say, you know what? Yeah, I don't care, let's go to Florida on this
Mhm.
2-wheel motorcycle.
Let me ask you something. What would you say, and maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't, but what would you say in your lifetime? What was your most humbling moment?
Probably, it has to be the day that my wife she wasn't my wife, but my son's mother was in the abortion center, in the room, on the table, with her legs in the stirrups. And I was out in the waiting room, and I just ran in there as fast as I could. I said, "Let's go." And she jumped off the table, and went off, and that little decision is now 37 years old. That was a humbling experience.
Wow.
Yeah. We were really glad we made that decision.
Wow.
'Cause, you know, the
Wasn't expecting that one, man.
that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
that is a big one. That's amazing. You know, it's interesting the decisions that you've made and how it's kind of shaped your life.
Probably a little
today,
bit too
man.
much information.
No, not at all. You know, I mean, like I said, I think it's pretty awesome how you you open yourself up. People get to know you, and people actually get to see who you are. You know, a lot of times in life, people make their own assessments and stuff, but
Well,
it's
they
interesting.
judge you and they don't know, you know.
Right, exactly.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
people
Which
see
I
me and I
think
got
most
all
people
these
do.
crazy jailhouse tattoos on my arms, and I know they look at me and wonder, what the hell? Where did he come from? That's where I came from. I was a street kid at 15 and went to jail all the time and reform school and drugs, all that good stuff. Until I walked into that drug program in 1972. That's what turned my whole life around.
That's awesome,
Yeah, I
man.
stayed there 3 years.
Wow, no kidding.
It was only a 2-year program, but I'm like, I'm not leaving.
You had to redo the second year.
I'm not leaving.
You had to stay back.
I was scared.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
So getting back,
Yeah.
you know, into the, you know, obviously you started doing cars. You ended up with a car on the cover, which is amazing.
It
Your
wasn't on the
first car
cover.
that you.
No, it wasn't
Oh, it wasn't on
on
the
the
cover.
cover. Just
But
featured.
still, it was the
Yeah.
fact that it was featured.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
But it's your first car
Yeah.
that you did.
Yeah.
Not too many people do that, you know, which is really cool. So did that kind of trigger? Hey, man, I think I want to do this.
Absolutely,
How did
100%.
the whole business? I
Well,
mean,
that's because my dream at that point was to have this big building. My picture was this old beat up Volkswagen going in one door, ba 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 boom ba 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 boom, and then coming out all brand new.
huh?
That was my dream,
Uh-huh.
and I guess I've succeeded at that because I've probably done
A lot.
I don't know how many cars I've done, but
A lot.
a lot. 32 years worth.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So that would have put you at 1987.
I started in '86, same year as
86, okay.
Tony at Wolfsburg West.
Okay.
We were friends back then. We
Wow.
both started the same year.
That is something else. You know, it's interesting how you had a Volkswagen background. Tony also had
Yep.
a Volkswagen
Yep.
background.
He was a parts guy.
Yeah, we had Shin and I had lunch today with Sam at Rancho.
Yep.
He was at Cotton Goff.
Yep.
You know, but one of the things that I think is really neat that you guys all have in common, and a lot of other folks that we're going to be doing podcasts with, is a work ethic. You know, you're not afraid of work, man.
Oh, no.
You know, it's
I am now because I'm old and tired and lazy.
Well, I think you deserve it, man. I think you've earned
Man,
it.
I mean, seriously, we'd go 6-7 days a week, 12 hours a day. We never got tired.
Wow.
Especially in '86 to like the 2000s. You know, we were going
Yeah.
balls out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah.
I used to get flack from my brother, who now works for me,
Uh-huh.
because he always used to say, "You don't do anything fun, you know. You got to stop this working all the time." And I'm like, "Phil, this is fun
Yeah.
for me. This
Right.
is my fun."
Right.
So you know.
That's awesome, man. Did by any chance did that 59 ever kind of rear its head? Nothing. God only knows where it ended up.
Nope.
Huh?
I
Yeah,
saw
but-
parts of it. I swear to God, I saw parts of it in the next 2 weeks on different cars going by. Like in
Really?
Santa Ana, I saw a red bug go by with powder blue wheels on it.
Huh.
Oh, those look familiar.
Mm.
And I saw another Volkswagen go by with powder blue doors on it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it got chopped up.
Huh. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, you know, considering that you've been doing this for 32 years, what change, you know, have you seen from when you started to now that has been kind of like a wow, I never thought that this would have.
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the prices of Volkswagens.
Yeah, prices
I mean-
definitely.
I used to buy a Volkswagen 23 window base car for under $5,000, restore it, and sell it for 20.
Wow, yeah.
Who have, you know, you can't do that today because, well, you know, the quality of everything's gone up.
Uh-huh.
You know, back then I was getting $800 paint jobs, $3,500 interior, you know, so you got 20,000 for the car, you felt good about it.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Now you get 120.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: if people that are actually listening and people that are watching, you know, considering your experience and the things that you've gone through in life, what would be your advice? Like, if you were to look at a young Lenny Copp back in the day, maybe not necessarily, you know, your background exactly and so forth, but somebody, you know, that's kind of like, you know, hey man, let's pack up and bail. What would be your advice to a young person today?
Well, I think it would probably be the same advice I gave my own son when he was growing up, and which was find out what your passion is and somehow figure out how to get paid for it.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's always been what I taught him. And he's been a DJ now for 15 years, and he just got hired by 99.1 in Riverside to do
Wow.
a thing on Thursday nights. It'd be Thursday Night Live, so he's pretty happy about
Right
that.
on.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool, man.
yeah, he's a good kid.
That's very cool. So, after you came out to California, did you ever go back east and say, "Hey, check me out"?
Well,
I
of course
did it.
I've been back because I have
Yeah,
a
you
lot
got
of friends
family
there
there.
and family, and not too much on my side of family, but oh yeah, I've definitely gone back. And one guy that I ran into, he goes, "Oh my God, Lenny, you wouldn't believe what I heard." I goes, "What'd you hear?" He goes, "I heard you were selling Volkswagens in Japan." I goes, "Well, you heard right." Because to be
That's
honest with
funny.
you, that in '86 when I first started,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I loved restoring Volkswagens and this and that, but there was no market for it. Nobody was buying them. No
Mhm.
Americans were buying Volkswagens back then.
Uh-huh.
And it was by chance that a Japanese guy came to my house to buy a Volkswagen I had advertised, and then he said, "Do you know where there's any more?"
Wow.
And as soon as I heard that, my light bulb went off, and I goes, "Oh, you want more?"
Wow.
I said, "I can find you some."
If you don't mind me asking, what was his name?
That was Mike Yamazaki.
Oh, okay.
From,
Wow.
yeah, and he's still my friend today, even though
Wow.
they don't buy cars.
That's so funny.
But then the next customer I latched onto was Komori at Flat 4.
Mm-hmm.
And because my partner and I actually flew to Tokyo to see if we could look up some of these dealers and see what was going on over there. And we went
Really?
right to Flat 4 and knocked
Very
on the
cool.
door and walked in and had a 2-day meeting with Komori.
A 2-day meeting.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And then he said, "Okay, I take 20 cars a month. Go home now. You don't need to see nobody else."
Wow.
And that went on until 1993.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
then I got the dreaded fax. No email yet.
Uh-huh.
"Hey, Mr. Rennie, Renny. Thank you so much for the service with the cars, but now we finished." And I was like, "What?"
What?
Just like that.
No shit. Dried up just like
Dead.
that.
One day.
Wow.
And I had 7 people working for me at the time because that's how many it took to find 20 cars a month. They weren't just laying out near your driveway. You had to go
Right.
looking for them.
Right.
I remember when Thursday mornings was
The
a
recycling.
feast. And we had all the recyclers and all the auto traders. And I mean, here's your stack of quarters. You go that way. You go that way. You go that way.
Yeah.
And then you get there, and then there's your competition
Yeah.
peeling off the money, and you're like, "Ah, shit, you got me."
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember
I
Big
remember
Willie?
that.
Big
Yeah,
Willie, he
yeah.
did that. He pulled up, and I was paying this little old lady for her '57 Carmen Gear, all original, cinnamon red kind of color. He pulled up in the bottom of the drive when he looked up at me, and he went, "Oh."
Oh my God.
Well, it was like that though. It was really
Yeah,
doggy
yeah.
bad. And people would go to Pomona at 4 a.m. trying to get the scoop on everybody.
Or the night before.
Yeah.
I remember buying stuff the night before and then selling it the next day. Yeah.
Well, I did that in the morning. I went there, and this guy had a square back to sell for
Uh-huh.
35 to 4,500.
Uh-huh.
And I asked him about it. He goes, "Yeah, my friends told me to bring it here. They said you'd probably sell it." And I go, "You know what? They're right. I'm gonna buy it." So I paid him for the car, and I moved it over about 6 spots,
Uh-huh.
and I put a for sale sign on it, 7,500.
Oh my God.
And he just stood there and watched it, and watched Komori walk up to the car, look at the price, and goes, "I buy." So he learned a good lesson that day.
Yeah, big time. Hey, you know what? You're an opportunist.
Hey,
I mean,
You
hey.
gotta make 'em- You gotta do it. I've been doing it for a while,
Smart.
so I know the game. But
Right.
he learned. He got what he wanted. I gave him asking price, so he can't
Yeah,
complain.
that is true. That is true.
I didn't dog him down to 1,000 and then sell it for 75. I'm not quite that bad.
Not that bad. I like that. That's pretty cool. Now, actually, Rich, would you mind coming into frame and actually asking Lenny, because I heard you just before we started that you were going to ask him a question about turning around and playing. Well, I don't want to ruin your question about playing a game while driving.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
remember that?
I
Yeah.
gotta come into the picture.
Come into the picture.
Come into the picture.
It's
Come into
just
the
part
picture.
of the
Ladies and
story
gentlemen,
Lenny
Rich
already
Morris,
told.
our sound guy.
Hey.
Our sound and tech guy.
Well, here, I'll sit right here.
Sit right there, man.
Hi, Lenny.
Hi, Richie.
Good to see you. So, yeah, you were in your Beetle coming up here. The
Coming
gas
across
pedal
country.
broke, but before the gas pedal broke, you were bored and you needed to accelerate, so you found
Well, the
something.
first
in the
time,
house.
yeah, the first time we decided how to do that was when we were going up the Continental Divide. Have you ever done that drive?
No.
From El Paso?
No.
Well, I told you my top speed was 48 miles an hour. Well, that changed. That went down to 25 miles an hour. Because it's a hell of an in-grade. It's a grade like this that you can't even see the grade. You're swearing to God you're going straight, but no, you're going up and up and up. And I mean for like 100 miles.
Wow.
So I figured out how to jam a brick onto the gas pedal so I could sit sideways like this and play cards with my girlfriend. We had to figure out something to do, you know. It was
Long drive.
It was crazy. Oh, I forgot to tell you this part though. We did stop once and we went into a mall just to take a break to get something to eat. And we came out and the bug was gone. And I swear to God, my heart went up to my throat. I'm like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? And I thought for sure somebody stole it. But no, I hadn't pulled the handbrake on and it coasted halfway across the parking lot and finally hit a parking brick and stopped on that.
Oh my God.
Your whole life inside.
My whole life inside, plus,
Yeah.
plus transportation, our house, our everything. That would have been
awesome.
a total bummer.
Yeah, that would have been a bummer. And it's a good thing it didn't hit anything.
Oh yeah,
That's
I know.
crazy.
That's the
Wow.
beauty. Get in and drive it away. No matter what happens, it's always going to run and take care of you.
I'd love to find that car again, but it's never
Yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah. So now you've done a lot of cars, and
Come on.
no, hang. You're sitting here now, so sit pretty, man. You've done a lot of cars over the years, a lot of cars. What would you say is your most? I want you to get some drinks and stuff down there. Your most memorable car that you ever did, and I know that you have, if I remember correctly, didn't you have Kamori's Carrera, 57 Carrera? I remember seeing
Well,
that
I had
in
it
the
in the
or
shop
something.
once, but I didn't really do anything to it.
But you still had it in the shop.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
seeing that thing going.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think we were running a shop next door with Jeff Kritz.
Right.
Yeah, that was a long time
Can
ago.
we take your dog? She cool?
Yeah, she's cool, man. This is good. Cool. Yeah.
Fine. She's singing.
It's good. She's a little Chewbacca.
But anyway, so what would you say was your most memorable car of all those cars, and why?
Oh boy, memorable.
Or even one that you just thought, man, I wish I would have never sold that one. I wish I would have kept it. Because I know that to me, when I get rid of cars, I feel
Probably
like the children
one
would
of the
go
coach
away.
builds that I've done. The Dannenhauer and Staus that I did, the 53.
Okay.
Which, by the way, if you Google my name on no, on I don't mean Google. I mean on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Google my name, put VW afterward or whatever, and then you'll see the black Dannenhauer and me driving it.
Oh, wow, cool.
And then there's another video on there of me driving the 51 Romesh that I had. The only one in the world, the oldest one in the world. And I had it for, I think, 7 or 8 years at my shop.
Wow.
And I'd never driven it. So finally one day I just got tired of looking at it and I said, put it together. Because when I bought it, it was all in pieces.
Wow.
We put the whole car, we assembled the whole car back together.
Wow.
And the old man that we had bought it from already had the drivetrain restored, so it was running and driving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
And I drove it around, out of my shop, up the street, back around, and parked it. And that was the only time I ever drove it.
Wow.
I was kind of bummed that I never took it to Cars and Coffee.
That would have been cool.
That would have been one of the cars that people
Would've
saw
blown
and would go, what is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Aluminum, all bare aluminum car with suicide doors.
Wow.
It was badass.
That is wild. Where did it end up?
It ended up in a museum in Germany, Grunman's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Well, he tried buying
Christian,
it
I
off
got to
me
see
for-
this car.
He tried buying it off me for like 6 years, but he was kind of always, 30,000, 40,000. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, go away, dude. We know it's the only one in the
Did you
world.
put it in the receptacle?
Never had to do that.
That's funny. I remember actually getting a phone call from you before I had met you. I remember a friend of mine. He had a '62 ragtop, and he won some awards. It was like a candy purple color, and I put it in the recycler for him because he was hard of hearing. And he said, "Hey, I want to sell it." Yeah, thank you. I fell for it actually. And you called me and you said, "So just how nice is this car?" And you wanted to go ahead and buy it. And so
What was it again?
the '62 ragtop,
Okay.
lowered,
Yeah.
centerline
Yeah.
combos. And but yeah, it was just kind of interesting. So you might have been looking for one of those 20 cars because this was back in the
I'm
day.
sure I was.
Yeah.
I had
So
to,
you were on the hunt.
You
Yeah.
had to work hard to find that many cars.
Yeah.
And I mean, not even that many, but that you got to buy nice ones.
Uh-huh.
You can't give your customers pieces of crap because you're gonna lose them. And I
Right.
saw it happen a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that were doing this, same as I was, were giving me crap because I wouldn't take off the monster tack or I wouldn't take off the stereo. No, you know what it's like to get a nice car you just paid a lot of money for, and there's all the goodies are still there.
Yeah.
I said, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You guys do it the way you got to do it. I do it the way I got to do it.
Right.
And I'm still here after 30 years, so
That's awesome. That
I
is
guess we
awesome.
did it right.
No, I think you did, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I think that's a good way to cap it off, Lenny.
Okay.
seriously. Is there anything else that you want to
Well, I'm
add?
just like, I'm still at it and still working. I don't know how much
Oh, yeah.
longer. I mean, probably, I would like to find a protege that would be interested in my company, to either own it sometime in the future or whatever, to come in and learn. Or, you know, I'm open to suggestions like that because, you know, I'm 70 years old next year, so
Wow, man, the big 7-0.
I'm looking for a little bit of an exit plan, but I can't walk away from it. There's no way.
Maybe a 59 Beetle with New Hampshire or bust inside.
Oh, you
on
know
there?
what our plate was on that car was Go Forever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, no kidding.
GO4 and then EVR.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it went forever somewhere.
That is
Somewhere.
awesome. Well, if somebody's listening or watching and they wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
West Coast 714-871-1322.
There you go.
Had that same number since '86.
And what's your
That's
website?
awesome.
ClassicBWs.com.
Okay.
ClassicBWs.com.
But you know, it's funny.
That's
We use
awesome.
more Facebook
Easy.
today than we have a company Facebook page that we use a lot. I like to post pictures on there daily. You know, stuff that we're working on and doing.
Right.
So.
Do you tweet or Instagram or anything?
No, I'm not a tweeter.
You're a Twitter.
I'm not a tweeter.
Or a tweaker either. eh?
9.
That's
I
good.
just think, who the hell wants to hear what I got to say all day long? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
you'd be
Well, I think you
amazed.
got
The
some
biggest
fun
one I
stuff on there,
follow
right?
is like James Woods, and he's on there like every 5 minutes telling us what he thinks, you know. And it's
Sure.
That's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
And some people find it entertaining.
Well, that's fine for them. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, you know, if you got nothing else to do. But,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know. Well, Lenny, seriously, thank
Yeah.
you. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
No, this is great, man. I'm sure there's plenty more stories, and we'll have to have you back on again another time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, think of some more fun stuff. So
Yeah, chapter 2 coming up.
yeah, I
Stay
love
tuned.
it, man. Yeah, Rich, thank you for the hospitality and the
You're welcome.
sound and everything
Thanks
else.
for the
And so, Lenny,
Thank you, Eddie.
a pleasure,
Appreciate
man.
it.
You know what?
Congratulations.
Thanks for your
Yeah.
years in the VW industry, because really it wouldn't be the same without you.
Yeah,
You know,
Absolutely,
you
man.
brought a lot of cars into it. You've donated to a lot of shows, and you've supported parties that you had for classic weekends.
Open houses.
That's what I'm saying.
man.
Yeah,
It
you
was
know?
so funny because when I first came here, I was like this little kid in a candy store. And the first place I wanted to see, because I saw it in the magazine and it looked like it was huge, was Small Car Specialties.
Oh my gosh.
And I walked into that place and I'm like, oh my God, where is it? That's when I started figuring it out, that the magazine kind of makes it look bigger than they
Well, the
are.
car shows are pretty badass.
And the first car
Pretty
show I
funny.
went to
Yeah,
was
those
there.
car shows were pretty cool.
I always
man.
wanted to
Running
go. I was
across
too
the
young
street.
to go.
That's where I met Mark Bruder.
Oh my
And he
God.
was standing there like this,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And I walked out, slithered up next to him. Hey, dude, how you doing? All right. You know, Mark, he wouldn't talk to you unless you knew him for 10 years. And what was funny about that is he ended up working with me for a while. We're really good friends today, but
That's
I remember
cool.
walking up to him and just wanting to be part of it, you know. And
Uh-huh.
I was just got there from New Hampshire, you know. Somebody talk to me, man.
Aw,
I want
man.
to talk Volkswagens, you know. I was just so excited. And then to lead into this, you know, to
Yeah.
where
There's a few people that have worked for you that are still around
Oh,
today,
man.
many, many years. Yeah, so
Yeah.
many have learned under your tutelage.
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
I'm like
A lot of
Trump,
people
you're
have.
fired.
Nice.
Never,
Fire me, I quit.
never enjoyed
Your
that. Never
apprentice.
liked it.
Yeah.
Because when I hired, you know, my 3 upholstery guys, the shortest one there has been there 14 years. The other 2 were over 20.
Is his name
Wow,
Shorty?
No, Shorty's a body guy though.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, and the best of luck to you. And
Yeah.
boy, the big 7-0. Let's see what
Yeah, I
happens
know.
then, huh?
Yeah.
Party, party.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Since it's
You know
gonna
what?
happen, I'm
Good
gonna
for you,
deal with
man.
it.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
seriously. I think it's definitely. See,
Eva's happy.
She agrees. Yep. I think
Well,
that's
you know,
a
I gotta
success
tell
story,
you-
isn't it?
The last thing I want to tell you is I'm just so stoked about my life, you know, what I was able to accomplish. And to come out here with that dream of working on Volkswagens and then, you know, ending up with a restoration shop for 30 years, it just shows that, you know, you can do what you want to do. And I starved along the way, believe me. It was so scary. And you talked about having the gut to pick up and go across country.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a gut to start a business, I'll tell you, because it's really scary, especially if you don't have a lot of money behind you.
Yeah.
But you know, if you weathered the storm and it all came out good, and now you know, I just enjoy it now. You know,
Took you off the streets.
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I haven't slept in the car for a while.
Got a car outside right now, man.
I got 2 over there.
Let me at it.
Now let's go. Cool. Thanks, Lenny.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lenny.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
See ya.
Awesome.